They laughed when you told them your dream. They chuckled when you shared your vision. They smirked, rolled their eyes, and dismissed your words like they were nonsense. You saw it in their face, that crooked grin, that spark of arrogance that said nah, you'll never make it. This is the first stage of greatness. This is the part they never talk about on highlight reels, the part where you're invisible, misunderstood, mocked, and underestimated. You aren't being doubted because you're weak. You're being laughed at because your dream is too big for their small mind. This is where legends are born, in silence, in struggle, under ridicule. The laughter is the soundtrack of the beginning, not the end. It's strange, isn't it? How people are so quick to laugh at those trying to rise. They don't see the seed you tell them you're planting a forest, and they scoff because all they see is dirt. They laugh because they only believe what they can see, and visionaries operate in the unseen. You're working on something real, something powerful, but it doesn't look like much now. You're just starting. You're rough. You stumble when you speak about your goals. You don't have the money, the fame, the spotlight. All you have is a burning fire inside you, and unfortunately, fire makes people uncomfortable. You threaten their comfort with your courage, and instead of clapping for you, they choose the easier option, laughing. But let me tell you something, every champion was once the joke. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. They told him he wasn't good enough. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job for lacking imagination. Keanu Reeves was mocked for being too quiet, too different, too expressionless. Every great soul has heard the sound of laughter in the background of their grind. But the laughter didn't stop them, it fueled them. That's the key. You don't stop when they laugh, you get louder, not with words, but with work. Right now, maybe you're the one getting laughed at. Maybe your family thinks you're wasting your time. Maybe your friends smirk behind your back. Maybe your coworkers see you trying something different and think you're crazy. But remember this, they laugh now because they can't see your future. You can. They don't see your late nights, your quiet hustle, the effort you pour into becoming better. They only see who you are now, and that's fine because who you are right now is just the trailer. The full movie hasn't dropped yet, and when it does, they won't be laughing, they'll be watching. You see, this is where most people break. The mockery gets loud, and the mind gets weak. You start believing them. You start shrinking your dreams to fit their limited understanding. You start dimming your lights so they feel comfortable. But don't you dare do that. Don't you dare trade your greatness for their approval. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to break molds, to redefine expectations, to go beyond what anyone thought possible, including yourself. Let them laugh. Let them doubt. Let them whisper. You just keep showing up. Keep building. Keep becoming. The laughter stage is necessary. It separates the wishful thinkers from the real ones. It filters out the fake. Those who crumble under mockery were never serious about winning. But the ones who smile in silence, the ones who keep going despite the noise, they're the ones who turn laughter into applause. They are the ones who rewrite the narrative. So ask yourself right now, are you in this for validation, or are you in this for victory? Because validation is loud, but it fades quickly. Victory is silent at first, but it echoes forever. Every time they laugh, take it as confirmation. It means you're on the edge of something uncomfortable, something bold, something most people are too afraid to even attempt. Their laughter is proof you're walking a road they've never seen. They're not laughing at you, they're laughing at their own insecurity, dressed in the costume of your courage. They're laughing because they don't understand how someone like you dares to believe in more. But you do. You believe in more, and that belief is dangerous. It's a threat to everything they've settled for. So wear their laughter like armor. Let every chuckle be a weight on your back that makes you stronger. Let every smirk be a spark that keeps your fire alive. Let every insult remind you of how badly you want it. Because if they laugh now, you make damn sure they clap later. And when they do, remember, the claps aren't for who you were, they're for who you became in spite of what they said. This is chapter 1, the beginning of the storm. The moment the world underestimates you. And that's the best place to be, because nothing is more dangerous than a focused soul with nothing to lose and everything to prove. Let them laugh. Your comeback will be louder. No spotlight, no applause, no validation, just long nights, aching limbs, tired eyes, and a relentless voice inside whispering, keep going. This is the chapter most people skip over, the part where nothing feels like it's working. You wake up early, stay up late, sacrifice weekends, and miss out on the fun because you're building something no one else can see. No one's clapping, no one's watching, and if they are, they're still laughing. But this stage is where transformation truly happens, not in front of cameras, but in the silence of your grind. This is the forge, the fire, the place where pain becomes purpose and scars become strength. In this stage, you're alone, not because you're unworthy, but because your journey is sacred. The dream you're chasing doesn't belong to the crowd, belongs to you, and the work required to reach it can't be outsourced. You can't fake this part. There are no shortcuts here. It's just you versus the mirror, day after day, decision after decision. Do you stay disciplined when no one is checking in? Do you stay focused when no one is cheering? Do you still show up when everything in you wants to quit? That's what separates dreamers from doers, the ability to grind in silence. Everyone wants the results. They want the body, the money, the freedom, the applause, but they don't want this. They don't want the pain, the hunger, the heartbreak, the failures that feel like personal attacks, the mistakes that make you question if you're even capable. This is where people fall off because building in silence requires faith. Faith that your work will eventually be seen. Faith that your efforts will matter. Faith that you're not wasting your time. And when that faith gets tested, when you start doubting yourself, that's when the grind either dies or becomes immortal. It's in the silence where self-respect is born, because when you push through the pain without anyone telling you good job, you become dangerous. You're no longer working for likes or applause, you're working for purpose. That's when discipline becomes automatic. You stop needing motivation because you've built a rhythm around growth. The silence becomes your sanctuary, not your prison. You begin to realize that this isn't punishment, it's preparation. Every rep, every hour, every ounce of energy poured into your dream is sharpening you for the moment the world finally opens its eyes. The pain you feel now, it's not a signal to stop, it's a sign you're growing. Your muscles don't get stronger unless they're torn down. Your mind doesn't sharpen unless it's challenged. Your character doesn't develop unless it's tested. That burn in your chest, that ache in your soul, that's the fire forging the next version of you. Let it burn, let it break you down, because on the other side of that breakdown is your breakthrough. That's the truth they won't tell you in motivation videos. Growth hurts, progress is painful, but it's the only way to evolve. Building in silence teaches you patience. You stop expecting overnight miracles and start trusting the process. You learn that excellence isn't loud, it's methodical. You begin to master the art of showing up, even when no one sees it, especially when no one sees it. Because every second you pour into yourself in silence is building a legacy that'll speak loudly one day. Every lonely workout, every unpaid hour, every rejected pitch, every failed attempt, it's all writing the story you'll one day tell. And when that story unfolds, people won't see the silence, they'll only see the strength. Then this season you're planting seeds. And the hardest part about planting is believing in the harvest. When all you see is dirt, it's easy to quit. When there's no sign of progress, it's tempting to give up when no one's watching. But real builders know this. The deeper the roots, the stronger the tree. And the deeper you go now, the higher you'll rise later. So while they sleep in, you grind. While they scroll, you focus. While they party, you prepare. Because one day, the silence will end and the world will hear what you built in the dark. And when they ask you where it all started, you'll smile. Not because it was easy, but because it was worth it. You'll remember the nights you cried but still showed up. The mornings you wanted to quit but didn't. The rejections, the failures, the loneliness. It will all feel like necessary steps, not wasted time. Because you'll realize that the pain didn't break you, it built you. The silence didn't bury you, it prepared you. You weren't forgotten, you were being forged. And now, you're ready. That is the silent phase, the forge of champions. The time when you either give up or gear up, when most fold and a few rise. When your habits either make you or break you. And if you can survive this stage, if you can keep building without the world clapping, you're already winning. Because the greatest victories aren't born in the spotlight. They're built in silence, forged in pain. And when your time comes, no one will laugh. They'll stand in awe, wondering how you did it. But you'll know you did it when no one was watching. There comes a point when the pain no longer paralyzes you. It sharpens you. At first, every setback feels like a brick landing on your chest. Every rejection like a dagger to your pride. But then something shifts. The pain that once made you question yourself now becomes fuel. The silence that once felt lonely now becomes sacred. You no longer see failure as a signal to stop you. See it as a necessary step in the journey. That's the turning point. That's when you stop running from the pain and start using it. That's when the breakthrough begins. It's not a loud moment. There's no dramatic music playing in the background. No crowd cheering. Just you alone again, picking yourself up one more time. But this time, you rise differently. Stronger, smarter, hungrier. The pain has taught you things pleasure never 'Cause it's taught you discipline, it's taught you humility, it's taught you how to keep showing up even when nothing's going right. And now you're ready to use everything that once broke you to build something that can never be broken. That moment when the pain becomes power is subtle, but life-changing. It might be the day you wake up and no longer feel sorry for yourself, or the day you look in the mirror and say, enough, it's time to rise. It could be the day you stop explaining yourself to people who never believed in you. The day you stop chasing approval and start chasing purpose. That's the moment your soul evolves. You stop being the person who needs something to start and become the person who creates something out of nothing. You stop waiting, you start becoming. Pain, in its rawest form, is the ultimate teacher. It teaches you where you're weak and where you need to grow. It exposes your ego. It humbles you, but it also shows you who you are when everything else is stripped away. No filters, no comfort, just you battling your own limitations, your own self-doubt, your own fears. And when you push through, when you make it past the screaming voice that says give up, you find strength you didn't know existed. That strength was always there, it just needed to be uncovered by the fire. Breakthroughs don't come when everything is going well, they arrive in the chaos. When your plans fall apart, when you hit rock bottom, when you're left with nothing but grit and faith. And when that moment comes, when you've cried, failed, and fought your way forward, suddenly, the impossible becomes possible. You land your first big win, you feel that shift in energy, people start noticing, opportunities begin to align, and for the first time in a long time, you feel momentum. You realize that the pain didn't destroy you, it was shaping you all along. But here's the truth they won't tell you. The breakthrough isn't just about success, it's about identity. It's about becoming someone new, someone who no longer needs to be pushed, begged, or motivated. You become self-driven, you move differently. You walk with a quiet power, an unshakable calm, because now you know what you're made of. You've seen yourself in the trenches and kept going. That kind of self-respect can't be taught, it has to be earned. And pain is the price of that earning. In that breakthrough season, you start doing things that once seemed impossible. Waking up early isn't a chore, it's a ritual. Discipline isn't a burden, it's freedom. You stop chasing cheap highs, and start pursuing lasting greatness. The opinions that once controlled you, they fade into irrelevance. The people who laughed, you barely hear them anymore. You're too focused, too aligned, too driven. You've learned how to channel your pain into power, and now, there's no going back. This is the phase where everything starts to click. It's not perfect, it never will be, but it's real. Your effort begins to bear fruit. Your consistency pays off. And even though you're not at the top yet, you can see it. You can feel it. You know that every step you took in the dark brought you closer to the light. And that light isn't just success, it's transformation. You're not who you were when you started. You're not the person they laughed at anymore. You've become someone unstoppable. Your story is still unfolding, but now you're writing it from a place of power. No longer waiting for a perfect moment. No longer running from the pain. Now you're using it, every scar, every loss, every doubt, as a brick in the foundation of your legacy. You've turned your worst moments into your strongest fuel. That's not just a breakthrough. That's evolution. Suddenly, the silence breaks. The same people who laughed now lean in to listen. The whispers of mockery have turned into applause. The smirks have vanished, replaced by widened eyes and subtle nods of respect. The ones who doubted you are now quoting you. The ones who ignored you now want to be seen with you. The tone has shifted. Something has changed. Not just around you but inside you. Because while they were laughing, you were building. And now that the building stands tall, they act like they always believed. But you remember it all. Now they clap, but it's different. It doesn't feel the way you imagined it would. It's not overwhelming joy. It's not revenge. It's realization. You realize that the validation you used to chase no longer matters. You've grown beyond needing applause. You've grown beyond proving anything to anyone. You've already won. Not because they're clapping, but because you kept going long before they did. You're no longer seeking recognition. You've become the kind of person who's anchored in purpose, not praise. And that changes everything. When the claps finally come, you'll notice something strange. They're loud, but they don't move you, not the way they used to. You don't crave the cheers like you once did. That's because the journey already fulfilled you. The transformation already changed you. You didn't climb this mountain to impress anyone, you climbed it because you refused to stay at the bottom. You did it for yourself, for your future, for your calling. And that quiet fulfillment, that deep inner knowing, is worth more than 1,000 standing ovations. Yes, the applause is satisfying, but not because it validates you. It's satisfying because it reveals how far you've come. It reflects the distance between who you were and who you've become. It confirms what you already knew, that the work in the dark, the pain, the discipline, the loneliness, it all mattered. They're clapping now, not because you suddenly became great, but because you never stopped moving, because your perseverance forced them to respect your presence. You didn't beg them to believe. You made them believe by refusing to break. And here's the twist. When they clap, they're not really clapping for who you are now, they're clapping for the version of you they can finally understand. The polished one, the successful one, the overnight success that took years to build. They missed the version of you that cried in silence, failed in private, and kept going regardless. That version, that's the one that deserves the real applause. But that applause will never come from the world. It comes from within, from the mirror. From the moment you look at yourself and say, we did it. Not for them. For us. This chapter is not about revenge. It's not about arrogance. It's about understanding that growth changes your relationship with everything, including success. You'll find that the more you grow, the less you need external validation. You'll also notice that some of the claps are hollow. Some are coming from people who still don't understand your vision. Some are coming from people who now want to attach themselves to your shine, even though they laughed at your spark. Don't let it confuse you. Don't let it distract you. Stay grounded. Don't owe them anything. Not an explanation, not a seat at your table, not a share of your success. You can forgive them, you can appreciate the applause, but you must never forget the silence they gave you when you needed encouragement. That silence was the soil you grew in. That absence taught you self-reliance. The fact that you made it without their support is exactly what makes you unstoppable. You've become something more than they expected, and that's why the claps come now. But here's what matters most. Now that you've earned the claps, what will you do with them? Will you get comfortable? Or will you keep growing? Will you let the noise distract you, or will you keep building in silence, just like before? The true test of greatness is not whether you win, but whether you stay hungry after the win. Because some people lose their edge the moment they get recognition. But not you. You remember where you came from. You remember the nights you went unnoticed. You remember the grind before the glory, and so you keep your head down. You let the world share, but you keep your eyes on the next summit, because this isn't the finish line. It's just another milestone. And deep down, you know this journey isn't just about you, it's about everyone watching. The young kid who's being laughed at right now, the broken soul thinking about quitting, the quiet dreamer grinding alone. They're watching your rise, and your story is giving them hope. Your success is the proof they need. You've become the inspiration. Now they clap it. You've changed. You no longer live for the crowd. You live for the mission. And when applause fades, as it always does, you'll still be standing. Not because of their approval, but because of your purpose. Let them clap. Let them cheer. Let them say they knew you'd make it. You just smile. You nod. And then, you get back to work. You were never supposed to make it this far. Not according to them. Not according to the critics, the doubters, the ones who laughed. You were just another dreamer in their eyes. Another name they'd forget. Another face lost in the noise of the world. But look at you now. You made it through the storm, through the mockery, the silence, the failures, and the pain. You rose from the ashes they buried you in, and now you stand not just as a survivor but as a symbol, a reminder, a walking testament that it's possible, that the underdog can become the icon. But here's the truth. This story was never just about proving them wrong. That part, the claps, the recognition, the redemption, that was only a byproduct. The real story was always about what you discovered along the way, the discipline you built, the courage you found, the resilience you didn't know you had. That was the reward. Not the fame, not the trophies, but the person you became when no one was watching. That version of you is the real victory, because anyone can shine when the lights are on, but very few can shine in the dark. There is something sacred about rising from nothing, about being overlooked and still choosing to show up, day after day, season after season. That kind of grit can't be taught. It's earned, and once you've earned it, no one can take it away. They can copy your style. They can mimic your voice, they can try to follow your steps, but they can never duplicate your journey. They weren't there when you were broken. They didn't see the moments when quitting seemed easier. They didn't feel the weight of the silence. And that's what makes you untouchable. You are no longer the person they once laughed at. You're no longer the struggler desperately trying to get their attention. You've evolved. You've stepped into a new identity, one rooted in self-respect, discipline, and unshakable vision. But even now, with the applause behind you and the spotlight ahead, you know this story isn't finished. This victory isn't the end. It's the beginning of a new chapter. One where you move from proving yourself to leading others. From chasing success to creating significance. From being the underdog to becoming the guide for the next. Because somewhere out there is someone who feels the way you once did. Alone, mocked, unseen. Someone is standing at the beginning of their journey, surrounded by laughter and doubt. And they're wondering if they should give up, but then they see you, they see your story, they see what's possible. Not because you were perfect, but because you kept going when it made no sense to. You've become more than a success story, you've become hope. And that's more powerful than any clap you'll ever receive. That's what legacy is. Not just reaching the top, but reaching back. Lifting others as you climb. Using your scars as light for those still walking through their darkness. Because the real icons aren't just remembered for what they achieved. They're remembered for what they gave. The energy, the inspiration, the permission to dream. That's your new mission. That's your new purpose. And it's far bigger than any personal win. So yes. They laughed once. They mocked what they didn't understand. They underestimated what they couldn't see. But that laughter was never your enemy. It was fuel. It was training. It was the echo of their own fear, not your failure. And now that the laughter has turned into claps, you realize it was never about them. It was always about you choosing not to give up, choosing to believe, choosing to keep going when the world told you to stop. From underdog to icon, from laughed at to applauded, from broken to unstoppable. But still, your story isn't over, because the ones who make it all the way to the top are the ones who never act like they've arrived. They stay humble, they stay hungry, they remember where they started, and they keep writing new chapters long after the world stops watching. So don't stop here, don't get comfortable, don't settle for one peak when there are still mountains. To climb your purpose is bigger than this moment, your reach is greater than this applause. The real youth, the one who suffered, the one who rose, the one who became, deserves to go further. This is your legacy in motion. This is what greatness looks like. Let them remember the laughter. Let them hear the claps. But more than that, let them witness the journey, the transformation, the rise. And when it's all said and done, when the noise fades and the crowd moves on, your story will still speak, not just to your success, but to the power of never giving up. That is how an underdog becomes an icon. And that is how you make them clap.